শুনতে পাচ্ছ তোমরা? Okay,
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ইউ আর অডিবল।
fine. Now I go to the screen sharing. See what we want to do actually. Now today in our laboratory actually we see we want to just virtually see one experiment in the measurement lab. Its name is calibration of wattmeter with DC potentiometer. So this is the name of the experiment and that is the thing. Don't worry, I shall send you this instruction sheet to you, okay, after the end of the class, okay. And what you have to do from your part, that also I shall clarify after explaining this particular experiment. And I shall show you some video, one video also on this particular experiment. I shall show you how to write report sheet, okay, and how we will organize the whole thing, and to which email address you have to send your report sheet, what will be the deadline and all such things. Everything I shall tell you step by step. But before that, uh, we should start our original thing, that instruction. Okay. So let's see. This is our experiment: calibration of wattmeter with DC potentiometer. Now, what do we mean by calibration? Calibration means for every meter or instrument, it gives some reading. Now, our task will be to find out the accuracy of the reading. Accuracy of the reading. So when one wattmeter gives, okay, a reading of 40 watt, 40 watt, then is it really a 40 watt or some percentage error is there? That we want to see. Okay, so at for every reading, we want to find out the error involved in the reading. That is what we say calibration. So we are now in calibration process. One meter which is under calibration will be actually compared with the reading of another instrument. So the second instrument is called a standard instrument, or sometimes also called a substandard instrument. But don't think that substandard means below standard. No, there is a meaning of substandard. Substandard is a standard. But why we call it a substandard? It is actually this standard instrument that we use in our laboratory will be standardized with respect to another instrument which is supposed to be standard in the higher level of hierarchy. So if our instrument is made standard or calibrated with respect to another wattmeter in the testing lab, okay, residing in the CPRI or in the Salt Lake somewhere or in the France, Paris, then our instrument will be called a substandard instrument. So, but many times we call it a standard instrument. Okay, it is locally used as a standard instrument. So our wattmeter will be calibrated or its error will be tested with respect to the comparison of reading of another standard instrument. So how it will be possible? For a wattmeter, we know it needs to get two things: the current and the voltage. And now we want to consider a DC only, not AC here. So the DC voltage will be applied to the pressure coil of the wattmeter, and the DC current will be applied to the current coil of the wattmeter. And wattmeter will give some reading. It will be the multiplication of that DC voltage and DC current. Now the same DC voltage will be given to another instrument, okay, which is supposed to be standard, and that AC current, that DC current will be given to that another instrument, the second instrument, okay. Then the second instrument or the standard instrument, after getting the information of DC voltage and DC current, will give us some power, information of power. So this reading will be much better, much error free, much accurate. So our the second instrument will give a reading. The standard instrument will give us a reading. What reading? The wattage value, and that, and our what test wattmeter, which is under calibration process, will be compared with that standard, the reading of standard meter, and then we can find out the error from the difference of the two readings. Now, what will be the second instrument that we use as a standard instrument? One option will be we can use a second wattmeter, which is supposed to be a standard wattmeter, or in our case here, we will use a DC potentiometer. A DC potentiometer. Okay, we will use here a DC potentiometer. Now, when we apply some voltage in the pressure coil of the wattmeter, what will be the magnitude of the voltage in our experiment? We will give 100 volt. Okay, we will give 100 volt to the pressure coil of the wattmeter. But we know our potentiometer cannot get that 100 volt as input. Our potentiometer is always working at a very low level. The supply voltage of the potentiometer is not exceeding 2 volt or 3 volt. Just see in the instruction sheet here. Say this is our DC potentiometer. Here the supply voltage is given as E2. So it is the accumulator voltage we call, or simply supply voltage. So how much is the voltage? It is normally 2 to 3 volt. So potentiometer can measure a voltage of the order of 2 to 3 volt only. So how it is possible that how we can measure a 100 volt? Okay, the thing is that the voltage that we apply in the pressure coil of an wattmeter will be first stepped down with a potential divider network, with a resistive network. Okay, so that is a potential divider network, resistive network. So when we apply 100 volt, we get only around 1 volt, just 1 volt at the output. That 1 volt will be applied as V1 as the input to the potentiometer. Now our task will be to measure V1 by the potentiometer. Somehow we will measure it. So once we measure V1, which is in the range of 1 volt, what we will do? We will just multiply that voltage V1 with a factor of 100. Okay, to get back our original voltage that was stepped down earlier. So if we get V1 equal to 0.95 volt, then it will be
95.
95 volt in the pressure coil, something like. So that's how we are doing it. Next thing is we want to measure a current through the potentiometer. Okay, so a current will pass through the current coil. A current will pass through the current coil of the wattmeter. Now, how to measure the current? We know potentiometer cannot measure the current directly. So it can measure only the voltage. So what we do in the current coil circuit, we insert a very low resistance, a low resistance. How much voltage resistance is there? In our laboratory, it is 0.1 ohm. 0.1 ohm. So when a current is passing through that low resistance, then some voltage will be dropped across this low resistance terminal. So that low voltage is here called as V2. So potentiometer will take V2 and will measure V2. So when we get V2, then current will be what? V2 divided by the value of the low resistance, means V2 divided by 0.1. That will be the current of the current coil. Okay, so that's how we can measure current. Now you can ask one question, that if we insert a resistance in the current coil circuit to measure current, then the value of the current will be modified, isn't it? Before the resistance there is some current, after inserting the current will be changed. But no, actually the resistance value is so small
Low,
that
low
it
value.
practically does not affect. Yes, you are right. Does not affect the value of current. It is much within our accuracy limit. So that's how we can measure V2, and V2 divided by 0.1 ohm will be the current in the current coil. So that's how we are measuring this particular thing. Now, one more thing we should say that here, now normally what happens, our pressure coil and current coil, they are actually powered by the same source. From the same voltage source, a voltage is applied to the pressure coil, and the same source will deliver the current in the current coil and it will pass to a load. But actually, that is the direct loading arrangement. But here we don't go to the direct loading arrangement. You already have studied in your measurement class that there is a phantom loading arrangement. Phantom loading means there is no load actually in the circuit. No load actually. The current does not pass through any load. Actually, what happens? Wattmeter does not know whether there is any load in the circuit or not. It does not know. So what wattmeter does? Wattmeter simply multiplies the pressure coil voltage with the current coil current. Okay. So that reading will be observed in the dial pointer arrangement. So pressure coil voltage into current coil current. That will be there. Now what we do here, the pressure coil voltage will be supplied separately by a voltage source that can feed 100 volt here, and the current coil will be supplied by a low voltage source. The low voltage will be around 2 volt, 3 volt, not more than 5 volt. But the capacity of the voltage source, low voltage source will be sufficient to deliver the rated current of the current coil. Now for our wattmeter, if the rated current is 5 ampere, our low voltage source E1 should be capable of delivering 5 ampere. Okay, 5 ampere through the current coil easily. Okay. Now the actual value of current can be controlled by a rheostat present in the circuit. Okay, and a rough estimate of current can be found from the ammeter also. The actual value of the current will be found from the potentiometer reading, which it gets as a voltage drop through a low resistance. So wattmeter gets multiplies the pressure coil voltage with the current coil current, and we can get a power reading. Now, what is the advantage of that scheme? Now, advantage is that, see, just I can tell you. So, what is the pressure coil resistance? So, just to be in the safe side, we assume that pressure coil resistance is say 100 kilo. So, when we apply 100 volt here, then what will be the power loss in the pressure coil? It will be V square by R, that is 100 square by 100 kilo. So how much power it will be? 100 square means 10 to the power 4, and 100 kilo means 100 into 10 to the power
10
10
ki
to the
power
power
5.
5. So it will be 0.1
0.14.
watt, 0.1 watt, something like. Just what I am telling is just arbitrary figure, just as a demonstration. Now, so a power loss of 0.1 watt takes place with the pressure coil. Now, in the current coil, what is the power loss? Say the voltage source E1 is having a volt of, say as an example, it is having a voltage of 3 volt. Now, when it delivers a current of 5 ampere, maximum current, say load current is 5 ampere, then the power delivered by the battery or the DC source will be 3 volt into 5 ampere. So 15 watt. This 15 watt partly will be consumed in the rheostat H1, partly will a little bit consumed in the current coil, which is very small amount, and also some extent will be there in the low resistance 0.1, and little bit will be also consumed in the ammeter. So their sum will be 15 watt. So how much is the total power consumption? 15 watt in the current coil side and 0.1 in the pressure coil side. So total power consumption in the meter in the arrangement is what? 15.1 watt. Now, if so, there is no load at all, but the wattmeter is giving how much reading? 100 volt in the pressure coil into 5 ampere. So 100 into 5 means 500 watt or half kilowatt. Half kilowatt. This is the full scale reading, say, of the wattmeter. So wattmeter is giving us a reading of half kilowatt, 500 watt, but the actual power consumption in the circuit is 15.1 watt only. So there is a lot of savings in the power because of the absence of actual load. There is a lot of savings in power because of the absence of actual load. Now, why the power is saved? Because if there is a load, the load will take 100 volt at 15 ampere, sorry, 5 ampere. The load would take 100 volt at 5 ampere. So that 100 volt into 5 ampere, that is 500 watt, would be consumed in the load. So wattmeter would read 500 watt and the entire power will be consumed in the load. Practically it will be consumed. So a lot of electric bill will come just to perform the experiment for 1 hour, 2 hours, something like, and the experiment will run every week, every day, almost every day. So a lot of electric bill will come. Who will pay the money? We want to save time, save power, save energy, and save money also. That's why instead of going to the direct loading, we opt for phantom loading. Phantom means the wattmeter thinks that there is a load, but actually there is no load. Phantom means fictitious. There is no load at all. So it is a advantage of using phantom loading, okay, against direct loading. Note one more important thing, that sometimes when I say what is the advantage of using phantom loading over direct loading, most of the students say that the some amount of power is saved. Where the power is saved? The power is saved. The power which is consumed within the instrument is saved. This is totally wrong. I find this answer for most of the students. Actually, whether it is a direct loading or phantom loading, the amount of power consumed in the pressure coil and current coil or in the entire arrangement will be same, no change. So the
Yes, sir.
power loss in the
Power
arrangement is
consumed
not
in
saved at all.
load is
You are
safe.
right. The power consumed in the load is saved. The power consumed in the load is same, not the power consumed in the arrangement. That will remain more or less same. Okay, so that is the advantage. So in the direct loading arrangement, total power consumption will be 500 watt plus 15.1 watt. So 515 plus 1 watt. But without the load, it will be power consumption will be only 15.1 watt. So you should keep this thing clearly in your mind. So that is the scheme. Now, one more thing. Now we concentrate on the potentiometer circuit. I shall show you the video, but later, not now. First, let's understand what is happening here. Now, DC, first consider the potentiometer. Now, potentiometer always measures either V1 or V2. Now, there is a selector switch inside the potentiometer, which is not shown. You will get it in the video. There is a selector switch. You will get it in the video. The task of the selector switch is to select the type of the input. If the switch is in position 1, it will select V1 input. So the V1 voltage applied there will be measured. If you select the switch position to 2, the potentiometer will take V2 as input. Okay, then you will get the V2 information or the current information after calculation obviously. So the selector switch will take any one input out of the available two. That is one more. Second thing is that what is the principle of action of potentiometer? We know that potentiometer, there is a slide wire in the potentiometer, and when a voltage is applied, that is E2, is applied voltage E2, then a current will flow through the slide wire. This current is held constant. Somehow this current is held constant. So if current is constant, then voltage drop in the resistance of the slide wire will be proportional to the amount of resistance. That voltage is what? I into R. The R is the resistance of the slide wire. So higher is the resistance, more will be the voltage drop. And again we know resistance equal to what? For the slide wire, R equal to rho L by A. Rho is the resistivity of the material. L is the length of the slide wire and A is the cross-sectional area of the slide wire. So when the material is uniform, it is just having homogenic property, then its resistivity rho will be same. throughout its entire dimension. And if the cross-sectional area A is same throughout the entire length of the slide wire, then A will be same. And then for a particular length, its resistance will be proportional to the length of the slide wire. Clear? And so resistance is proportional to the length. So if I is held constant somehow, then IR drop in the slide wire will be proportional to the length of the slide wire. Okay. So the length of the slide wire will directly give us the amount of voltage dropped in the slide wire. Okay. Now that voltage will be applied just in opposite direction to the input voltage V1 or V2, depending on the selector switch position. The selector switch will be in position 1 or 2. So when selector switch is positioned in position 1, V1 will be selected. If it is in position 2, V2 will be selected. So now, so once we measure any voltage V1 or V2, that voltage will be in opposition to the voltage drop across the slide wire, IR drop in the slide wire. When these two voltages are exactly equal, when these two voltages are exactly equal, then we can say that our length of the slide wire, okay, will be
Is directly
proportional to the
proportional to the
applied voltage
V1.
V1 or you are right, V1 or V2. So that's how if our length is calibrated directly in terms of a voltage, then from the voltage marking along the slide wire, we can find out the value of V1 or V2. Now, when V1 or V2 is equal to the slide wire voltage, then there is a galvanometer which is actually in one side of the galvanometer there is a input voltage V1 or V2. The other side of the galvanometer, the slide wire drop, IR drop will be there. When the two voltages that are opposing each other are equal, then the net current in the galvanometer will be zero. Net current in the galvanometer will be zero. And we'll see a null, means the galvanometer's illuminated spot will be at null. So null means the galvanometer is at null, means our slide wire length is now exactly compensating the input voltage. It is equal to the input voltage. So from the reading of the slide wire position, we can measure the value of V1 or V2. So that is the principle of potentiometer, you know. Now only one thing remains here that is not yet discussed. That is how to keep the slide wire current constant. The slide wire current is called working current. If we keep the working current of the potentiometer constant, then its length will be proportional to the voltage at null condition, under null condition. So how to keep our working current constant to a set value? For that particular case, there is a third input. So this third input is not marked. V1 or V2 is not. There is a, apart from V1 and V2, there is a third input. So at that input, there is a standard cell is there. The standard cell, it is generating precisely, accurately a particular voltage only. Okay, this is a one Western cadmium cell. There is a, it's a Western cadmium cell at 20 degrees Celsius room temperature. The standard cell gives a voltage exactly at 1.0186 volt, 1.0186 volt at 20 degrees Celsius. Now, when the room temperature changes, say it's more than 20 degree, means 30 degree, 40 degree, whatever it may be, then there is a formula. There is a formula where that shows the dependence of standard voltage on temperature. So if we put the temperature in the formula, I shall show you the formula. So here, so this is the formula of the standard cell. This is that one, 1.0186. So this one, 1.0186. Okay, minus 0.00004 into T minus 20. So you put T equal to temperature value obtained from the room. There is a thermometer. Put it there, and you will get the exact value of standard cell voltage, ET. So So once we know the standard cell voltage, that is the Western cadmium cell voltage at a particular temperature, that voltage will be applied. Now, what happens in the beginning? We keep the potentiometer in standardization mode. So actually, all the potentiometers are in two modes. One is a standardization mode, another is a test mode. So when we perform experiment, we measure V1 and V2, then the potentiometer is in test mode. Then our selector switch 1 and 2 position will work. But when it is in the standardization mode, there is a knob actually, standardization mode and test mode. When it is in the standardization mode, then the selector switch will not work. Selector switch will not work. Then in the standardization mode, the potentiometer will be always taking the input voltage from the standard cell. So that's a fixed input will be going to the potentiometer. Okay. Now once a fixed input is going to the potentiometer in the standardization, now there is a standardization option. A fixed resistances are connected in there and everything, and just by changing the uh, knob and some there is a resistance internal rheostat present inside the DC potentiometer, which is kept in series with the E2, that is the applied voltage. So that resistance, this resistance is not visible from the outside. It is coming in the form of rotating a knob. There is a coarse adjustment knob and the fine adjustment knob. So if we vary that knob in the standardization mode, that resistance will be accurately controlled, and some of the voltage will be dropped across the resistance. This series resistance. So when our remaining voltage in the potentiometer is exactly equal to the standard cell voltage, then our galvanometer will not deflect. It will show null. So in the standardization mode, the reading of the galvanometer, the null reading of galvanometer will tell us that the potentiometer input voltage is exactly equal to the standard cell voltage. So what is the potentiometer input voltage? It is the applied voltage E2 minus the series resistance drop. It is the applied voltage E2 minus the series resistance drop. So when the series resistance is controlled properly, then the input voltage, which is E2 minus that series drop, is exactly balanced by the standard cell voltage. Then galvanometer will have a null, and then our slide wire under that setting of series resistance will carry a fixed value of current only. Our slide wire will carry a fixed value of current only. It means our working current is set at a fixed value. And once working current is set at a fixed value, now we know our length of the slide wire at null condition of galvanometer is proportional to the applied voltage. Okay. Now once standardization is complete, we go to the test mode by changing the knob position from standardization to test, and then we start operating our selector switch to its position 1 or position 2, depending on which input we want to receive, V1 or V2. So that is the whole procedure within the DC potentiometer. Now what is the advantage of using DC potentiometer? Okay, once we know V1, which is indirectly the pressure coil voltage, and V2 is indirectly the current coil current, then we can convert the reading of V1 and V2 into pressure coil voltage by multiplying V1 with 100, and we convert V2 into pressure coil current by dividing it with 0.1. Then we multiply them, we get the reading of power from the potentiometer. So that reading now will be compared with the wattmeter reading, and accordingly the error will be calculated against that particular reading of the wattmeter. So that is the operating principle of the whole thing. Now there are two more options available, that a thick conducting wire is there, we call it a link. Sometimes the pressure coil terminal, that the plus minus terminal or the entry terminal, or common terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the current coil, we call it a link, and sometimes it is not connected. So sometimes there is a link connected between the pressure coil and current coil, sometimes it is not connected. When a link is connected, wattmeter will give some reading. When no link is connected, wattmeter will give another reading. Okay, another reading will be there. Two readings are little bit different, not same exactly. Now the question is why we are giving this doing the experiment in with link or without link. Normally what happens when we perform the experiment in when we perform the experiment in the direct loading configuration, then you know there is a common terminal where from pressure coil is coming out and current coil is also coming out. So this is the common terminal. So under direct loading condition, link is automatically there. Okay, always, whether we want or not. But in phantom loading arrangement, there is a freedom for us from our part that either we can connect a link or we can disconnect the link also. Okay, so our experiment, all the reading will be accordingly with link or without link, and we want to investigate what will happen under these two conditions. Okay, let's start. So I think you can see this thing. Okay. So now let's see. So now the question is why we can connect, why we are going to the two different cases, that with link reading and without link. There is a difference actually. We want to investigate it. See what happens.
I
If, bolo, anything to say? Anything? Any question? No. Let's see. Actually, what happens? Pressure coil and current coil, if there is a, they are guided by a deflecting torque. Okay, we already know the principle of operation in electrodynamo type instrument. Now, if the pressure coil voltage and current coil voltage are widely different, then there is a potential difference or voltage difference coming between them. These voltage difference will generate some, it will have some, establish some capacitive coupling between the pressure coil and the current coil, and some electrostatic force will come due to the potential difference. Pressure coil is having hundreds of volt and current coil is having very small voltage. So there is a large potential difference between pressure coil and current coil. So some electrostatic force will come between this pressure coil and current coil. Okay, and that will act either against the deflecting torque or along the deflecting torque, in the direction of deflecting torque. So it means what? Our deflecting torque will be either reduced or it will be enhanced. So depending on the direction. So ultimately, the original deflecting torque is not available because of the newly generated electrostatic force. So our instrument reading in angular deflection of the instrument is no longer proportional to the product of the two currents. They are not related directly that way, or the angular deflection is not related to that coil currents directly. So what we want? We want that the electrostatic force should not come, or electrostatic torque should not come. Only the deflecting torque that arises due to the two coil currents exists in the setup. So how to remove the electrostatic torque? The only one method is that if we remove the voltage difference, potential difference of the two pressure coil, okay, then the two pressure coil will be equipotential, okay, it will be at same voltage, so there will be no voltage difference. So electrostatic force or torque will be zero, only the deflecting torque will come into act. So that's how we are setting the link. Okay. Now sometimes it may happen that with link you get one error, but in without link the error may be reduced. In some cases, it is because the electrostatic torque acts in such a direction with respect to the deflecting torque, the original error is somehow compensated. It works in such a direction. Sometimes it is compensated, sometimes the error is more. Sometimes the error is reduced, sometimes the error is less, depending on the relative deflection direction of the two torques. That's why we should not rely on the performance of this electrostatic torque, and the instrument response may not be linearly related with the product of two coil currents. That is the most important thing. Instrument deflection will not be linearly related with the product of two coil currents. That's why you want to remove the potential difference between the two coils. How? By connecting a link. By connecting a link, then the two coils will come at the same potential. So there will be two arrangement, with link and without link. Clear? Any doubt? Any
Yes.
question? I expect one question from you. Let's see who asked this thing. My answer is very much incomplete. The incomplete answer, why it is incomplete? Because when we connect a link between one side of the pressure coil and current coil, these two sides will be at same potential, same voltage. True. But what's about the other side? For a current coil, say just I am talking about. So for a current coil, what is the voltage drop across current coil? When a 5 ampere flows, maybe the voltage drop across the current coil is only 10 millivolt or 1 millivolt. So the other side of the current coil is how much voltage? It is of the order of only 1 millivolt or 10 millivolt higher, okay, or lower than this particular other node of the current coil. So there is a that particular thing. But what's about the pressure coil? When we see here, say what is the in the pressure coil, actually you are applying 100 volt, say here. Then other side of the pressure coil will have a voltage of how much? 100 volt. So other side of the pressure current coil takes has a voltage reading of some millivolt, but other side of the pressure coil is having a voltage of few hundred volt. Here 100 volt. So again, the other side of the other nodes of the two coils are again widely different. Widely different. Widely different. Isn't it? So again, some electrostatic force or torque will come, a capacitive coupling will be there dynamically. So some error will come again. So what is the option? The option is we can connect a link in the lower two nodes also. If we connect the lower two link, but the problem will be a closed circuit will be established between pressure coil and current coil. A large circulating current will flow between the two, and the current coil will short the terminal. Heavy current will flow, and the current coil circuit will be completely burnt out, damaged. Then what to do? We cannot connect a link in the other side. Actually, we need not connect any link on the other side. When we connect a link in one side, automatically the other side of the two coils will be at more or less at the same potential. The other side of the two coils will be more or less at the same potential. Can you explain this thing? How it is possible? I want to give you just 1 minute time to answer this question. That if we connect a link here, two nodes will be at same potential, but surprisingly, the other two nodes will also be at the same potential. More or less at the same potential, very closely at the same potential. How and why? Just you think. I take a 1 minute break. You think. I am already in line, but I stop and you tell me the answer. Just I am one after 1 minute. I am coming. Now I am back. Any answer? হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছ আমার কথা নাকি?
হ্যাঁ
হ্যালো,
স্যার শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
হ্যাঁ, কোনো আনসার কি বেরোলো নাকি বেরোয়নি? বেরোয়নি। লেটস সি দেন।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বলছিলাম স্যার লিঙ্কটা দিয়েই নিচের হচ্ছে ওই V1 টা হয়ে V2 হয়ে ওপরের
না, V1
সার্কিটটা
V2
হয়ে
সাইডে আমরা কিছু করতে পারবো না, কারণ পোটেনশিওমিটার লো ভোল্টেজে অপারেট করে, it operates in the low voltage. So we are stepping down V1 in the ratio of 100:1. So 100 volt means V1 will be 1 volt, and V2 also is very small because a low resistance 0.1 ohm is there. So we cannot do anything in the V1 and V2, but we want to remove the potential difference between the two coils in the other side also. Okay, I am giving you the answer. See, so we know in the current coil side, this other node, this node is having a voltage around few millivolt higher or lower compared to this node, the link node voltage. Okay. Now what's about the pressure coil? Actually, a pressure coil is a coil of large number of turns. So a few hundreds of turns are there in the pressure coil. There, it is having some large resistance. But to reduce the current of the pressure coil further to a very small value, you know, pressure coil is a moving coil. So you want to reduce the current of the moving coil always. So how we reduce? We insert a high valued series resistance in the pressure coil, and that series resistance is so high compared to the resistance of the pressure coil that most of the voltage will be dropped across the externally added series resistance. Most of the voltage will be dropped across the externally added series voltage. So it means what? So what is the voltage drop across the internal pressure coil? Actually, the voltage drop across the internal pressure coil is only, again, not more than 1 volt, much smaller than this, also in the range of millivolt. So it means what? the other side of the pressure coil does not mean the other side of the externally added resistance. No, it is not this side. It is the side in between pressure coil and resistance. The other side of the pressure coil means it is the node between pressure coil and the externally added resistance. So this voltage is therefore very small and is quite closer to the voltage of current coil in the other side. So it means what? When we add a link here, the voltage in the other side will also be, the voltage difference in the other side of the pressure coil and current coil will also be negligibly small, quite small. So ultimately there will be no electrostatic force or torque present in that arrangement. Get my answer? Clear? Or any doubt? If you have any doubt, ask me. I will tell you again in another way. কারো বুঝতে না হলে না পারলে আমাকে
স্যার যে
সরাসরি
রেজিস্ট্যান্সের আগে তো স্যার যে ভোল্টেজটা হচ্ছে ওই ড্রপ করছে না, মানে ওই রেজিস্ট্যান্সটা আমরা ইউজ করছি তো হচ্ছে, মানে স্যার যে কারেন্টটা লো করার জন্য, মানে কারেন্টটা লো করার জন্য জাস্ট ইউজ করছি। আচ্ছা 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 আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে ঠিক
আমরা
আছে।
আমরা এই যে যত ওয়াট মিটার তোমরা দেখো, সমস্ত ওয়াট মিটারেই কিন্তু প্রেসার কয়েলের সঙ্গে একটা এক্সট্রা রেজিস্ট্যান্স অ্যাড করা থাকে, কিন্তু সেই রেজিস্ট্যান্সটাকে আমরা দেখতে পাই না, ভেতরে থাকে বলে। কিন্তু এটা আমরা মুখে বলছি এক্সটার্নালি অ্যাডেড রেজিস্ট্যান্স, কথাটা হয়তো সে অর্থে ঠিক নয়। ওটা এক্সটার্নালি অ্যাডেড হলেও ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টের ভেতরেই থাকে। Although we are saying that it is an externally added resistance, it still remains inside the arrangement box of the instrument. So most of the voltage will be dropped in the that particular resistance. So the coil voltage, actual coil voltage is quite small. তাহলে কয়েলের ভোল্টেজ যদি কম হয়, ভোল্টেজ ড্রপ, তাহলে কয়েলের অন্য দিকের ভোল্টেজ আর কারেন্ট কয়েলের প্রেসার কয়েলের অন্য দিকের ভোল্টেজ আর কারেন্ট
এগুলো
কয়েলের
তাহলে হচ্ছে অলমোস্ট তাহলে সেম হবে।
মোর অর
Yes,
লেস
sir.
সেম, এক্স্যাক্টলি সেম আমি বলছি না, কিন্তু
আচ্ছা
মোর অর লেস সেম থাকবে। ফলে আমাদের পারপাস সাফ করে গেল। গেট মাই
ওকে
পয়েন্ট? এনি ডাউট? কারো কোনো, আমি আবারও বলছি, সবসময় বলার, অসুবিধা থাকলে আমাকে বারবার ইন্টারাপ্ট করবে, জিজ্ঞেস করবে। আমি কিন্তু একদম বিরক্ত হই না। আমার কাজই হচ্ছে তোমাদের বোঝাবার চেষ্টা করা, আমার সাধ্য মতো আমি করবো সেটা। ঠিক আছে? ক্লিয়ার? ওকে, তাহলে এইটা হচ্ছে আমাদের অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্ট। তাহলে এবারে আমাদের এক্সপেরিমেন্টে যখন আমি করব, লেটস সি দা প্রসিডিওর অফ দ্য এক্সপেরিমেন্ট। এক্সপেরিমেন্টে আমরা প্রথমে কি করব, ওয়াট মিটারটাকে, এই সরি পোটেনশিওমিটারে আমরা এই ওটাকে স্ট্যান্ডার্ডাইজ মোডে, ব্রিং দ্য পোটেনশিওমিটার ইন দ্য স্ট্যান্ডার্ডাইজেশন মোড, connect the first connect the standard cell, then bring the potentiometer in the standardization, vary the knob in the standardization mode, vary the knob for coarse adjustment and fine adjustment. Effectively this is equivalently the variation of varying the rheostat, internal rheostat. So the net applied voltage inside the slide wire will change in such variation. And when our galvanometer reading is at null, then it means that our potentiometer input voltage inside the slide wire is exactly equal to the standard cell voltage. Okay. Now we keep that standardization. After standardization, we wait for, first we connect the standard cell, then we wait for 15 to 20 minutes. Why? To stabilize the temperature of the environment. Then we start standardization, bring the knob into the standardization mode, vary the coarse rheostat and fine rheostat, and observe the null point of the galvanometer. And once we get the null point, it means the potentiometer is standardized. Now we vary the knob to the test mode. Once we vary the knob in the test mode, then we measure, take the selector switch in the one position, then connect V1, apply V1 and check the null point of the galvanometer by varying the slide wire. By varying the slide wire, we consider the null point. When we find that the galvanometer deflects in opposite direction in the two consecutive position of the slide wire, then it means that our null point exists in between that two consecutive position. তার মানে স্লাইড ওয়ারের একটা পজিশনে গ্যালভানোমিটার যেদিকে ডিফ্লেক্ট করছে, স্লাইড ওয়ার এই জকিটা মুভ করালে, ওয়াইপারটা মুভ করালে, যদি দেখি যে গ্যালভানোমিটারটা অন্যদিকে মুভ করছে, তাহলে বুঝতে হবে যখন ডিরেকশন চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, তার মানে হচ্ছে গ্যালভানোমিটারের নাল পয়েন্টটা দুটো অপোজিট পয়েন্টের মাঝখানে আছে। তখন আমরা ফাইন টিউনিং করে অ্যাডজাস্টমেন্ট করে আমরা এক্সাক্ট নাল পয়েন্টটা দেখব। নাল পয়েন্ট এসে গেলে গ্যালভানোমিটারের ডিফ্লেকশনটা জিরো হয়। V2 ক্ষেত্রেও তাই। Selector switch, when it is brought to the point position 2, we apply V2 and identify for which two position of the slide wire galvanometer deflection is in the opposite direction. Then our slide wire will be in the at some middle point, not exactly middle point, some inner point between the two extreme positions. And then galvanometer will show no deflection. But now one more thing I should say in this correction, that we don't know whether we standardize or measure V1 or V2. Initially what happens, we don't know whether the galvanometer will be at null or not during the standardization and measurement. So if the applied voltage is becoming heavily different from the internal potentiometer voltage, then the galvanometer will deflect heavily. A high current may flow through the galvanometer. That will actually what it will be there, the galvanometer may be damaged because initially it is not a null and we don't know what is a null point. So for such protection, what happens, a push button like arrangement is placed in series with the galvanometer. A push button like arrangement is placed in series with the galvanometer. When we push the button, then galvanometer comes in the circuit, then it deflects. Just momentarily it will deflect. And again, when we withdraw the push button, no deflection. So just press, unpress, press, unpress, this way. So just it saves the galvanometer from carrying high current, momentary high current. Okay. And if the current is high momentarily, there will be no damage of the galvanometer because it is a momentarily available, momentarily generated high current. So there will be no problem. But where ultimately just by repeated press and unpress, press and unpress, when we find that the galvanometer does not deflect at all, means there is no difference between pressing and unpressing, pressing and unpressing, no difference at all between the two consecutive configuration. It means that that is the null condition. That is the null condition. So pressing a switch when it does not cause any change in the galvanometer position, it means our null point has arrived. Clear? So that is this particular. Now I shall show you the video, but before that, let me show you what will be the our reading and all such things. So initially we connect the standard cell, wait for 15 to 20 minutes. After bringing to the standardization mode, wait for 15 to 20 minutes. Then we go to the test mode, keep the selector switch in position 1 to then measure V1 by observing null point of the galvanometer with repeated press and unpress. Then we keep the selector switch to the position 2, then measure V2 just by varying, okay, slide wire position and observing galvanometer with repeated press and unpress. And then we go for some calculation, and that happens for every reading of the wattmeter. So we change the current coil current by varying the rheostat RH1. So accordingly the ammeter reading will be changed. So we set the rheostat value so that the wattmeter will be initially at 0 value, at 0 watt, then 20 watt, then 40 watt, 60, 80 and 100 watt. Only up to 100 watt will carry the full scale reading of the wattmeter is 100 watt that we use in our experiment. So 0 to 100 watt in step of 20 watt. So that's how we will vary the current coil current, just by varying rheostat and just by observing the ammeter current. But the pressure coil voltage will be initially fixed at 100 volt and that will remain 100 volt throughout the experiment. There. And so for every reading, that is for 20 watt, we will connect the link, then measure V1 and V2. We need not standardize every time. In the very beginning, our standardization will be only once to set the working current. But once it is fixed, it will be now all through the test mode. No standardization mode at all for rest of the time in that particular day. Okay. So now we will insert the link So our reading will be with link. We'll measure V1 and V2 with link, can calculate the error. That is the difference between the wattmeter reading and the potentiometer reading after calculation. Then we remove the link. So without link for 20 watt. Again for 40 watt, we change the rheostat, bring it to the 40 watt. Then with link and without link, we measure V1 and V2 and find out the error. Again we change the rheostat and you and set the wattmeter to show 60 watt, 20, 40, 60 this way. And again with link and without link. This way up to 100 watt it will be, every reading will be with link and without link. And finally there will be two sets of error for every reading. One error will be for with link, another error will be for without link. Okay, and there will be a graph in the y-axis error, in the x-axis instrument reading 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and in the y-axis it will be the error, percentage error. So let's see then what will be the experimental sheet, all such things. So that is the process actually what I told you. So initially what happens, some typical values are given. Voltmeter reading is for all the run 100 watt, and first our we vary the rheostat RH1 and the ammeter reading will be say 0.2 ammeter reading. So there is a mistake, I think. Ammeter reading should be actually not, it is V, it should be A. So it should be A actually. It should be A. Okay. Yes. So these are also ultimately it is 0.2 into 100. 20 watt is the ammeter reading. We are setting, this is the ammeter reading. So we are bringing it. Then what happens? Our output voltage V1 in the potentiometer. The potentiometer, the galvanometer shows a null when potentiometer shows from the slide where 1.0026 volt. So we multiply it with 100. We'll do it later to get actual pressure coil voltage. Then we measure V2. That is the voltage in the current coil circuit across 0.1 ohm. R1 is here. Say this is our R1, 0.1, this one. So that is the voltage. So that is the voltage. Now if we divide it by 0.1, we'll get the current coil current. Then these two will be multiplied. So every reading for 20 watt, one reading will be without link for V1 and V2. Another will be with link. Again without link, with link. So two sets of reading. So that's why there are double entries. 20, 20, 40, 40, 60, 60 these way. We'll do the experiment. Clear? Now once we know how to calculate it. So WT is V1 into V2 by R1. Actually this is not, it should be actually 100 into V1. It should be actually 100 into V1. Because 100 volt is the what it. Again there is a mistake. So I'll change it. So I write it. So 100. Okay, just 1 minute.
V1 is like 100.
So it is 100 into V1 and V2. Okay, that is it. So that is the wattmeter reading. Just I say. And then how we calculate the error, there will be another table, next table. So for every serial number, we know the volt box. Volt box means what? It is the potential divider arrangement. A box is there whose task is to step down the voltage from 100 volt to 1 volt in the ratio of 100:1. So that is the volt box we call it. So in the figure actually our volt box. So this is our volt box, which is used to step down voltage. Okay, now I go down. So now what happens? So once you get V1, that will be multiplied with 100. That is this thing. And for V2, we get the current coil current. So V2 by R1 and 1 ohm. Now one very advantage is that since our V2, R1 is 0.1 ohm, so V2 by 0.1, actually our decimal will be shifted just 1
0.1.
side. So 0.01 will be 0.1.
Yes,
You are right. 0.04 will divided by 0.1 will be 0.4. So just one shift. So that is this there. That is the just one place is there. But actually, while carrying experiment, the selector switch when it presses position 2, there is another knob also, which is the multiplying factor knob. We keep the multiplying factor into 0.1 position. Then what is the advantage? The reading that we get into zero point 0.1 divided by 0.1. So 0.1 will be directly
Directly.
cancelled. Directly. So our reading will be directly coming. But that is not shown in the table actually. That is not shown in the table. So whatever reading we are getting, that divided by 0.1 or one place shift in the decimal right position. So that is given. So it is 0.1, 0.4 or something is the current. So wattmeter reading will be what? Is the multiplication of the two things. You multiply, you get that. And wattmeter reading, the reading observed reading is 20 watt, but actual reading is 16.14. It is in without link. So error is what? Our error is so 20 minus 16.14 by 20 by wattmeter. So it's given here. Error is W0, that is the observed reading, minus WT by full scale reading of wattmeter. Full scale reading is 100 watt. So it's expressed in terms of full scale by 100. 100 watt is the full scale reading into 100. So ultimately W0 minus WT will be same as the percentage. So their difference will be 3.86. That is the difference and percentage, they are coming same. So this way we can calculate the whole thing. Yeah. Now once our calculation is complete, we have to draw a calibration curve. Calibration curve means in the y-axis percentage error and in the x-axis wattmeter reading. Wattmeter reading means this table 20, 40, 60. Okay. That table. So there will be two curves, one for with link, another for without link. And note that our graph must start from 0 because initially when no supply is given, our wattmeter pointer should start with 0 position. Otherwise, we will say that there is some offset error. So in the calibration curve, that is an important thing. Don't forget to give the reading in the 0 position. 0 position. So reading 0, error 0. That will be the 0 origin. From origin it should start. Now all the points should join. So the plot should start from the origin. It is given here. See, the plot should start from the origin. And adjacent points should be joined by straight lines. Why straight line? Since we don't know the pattern of errors, so which curve should we select to join the point? So this is not defined. Therefore, the two experimentally obtained point will be joined by straight line. It means that we have performed the experiment at the two corners of the straight line. We have performed the experiment at the two corners of the straight line. In any other result along the straight line is not guaranteed. Any other result along the straight line is not guaranteed. Our manufacturers are also giving us a calibration curve, and these calibration curves are always with piecewise linear model. That is that they are joining them with straight line, segmented straight line. These are not a smooth curve because errors cannot have any trend. Errors cannot have any trend. No particular graph can be used to fit them. So always calibration curve will be used with the use of joining with straight lines. The use of straight lines. So that is the particular thing. Clear? Any doubt here? Okay. Any question in the understanding of the experiment? Now two things remaining. Actually, three things still remaining. One is the video. I will show you at the end. Next one is how to write the report. What is the format of writing report? And third thing is where to send the report, in which email ID or anything, what will be the deadline, what will be the format of the file, name of the file, all such things. I shall tell you one by one. Now consider, don't worry, I shall give you this particular material, that is the instruction sheet, and I shall give you one more sheet. This is the format of report. How to write your report on experiments on of electrical engineering laboratory. That is in measurement lab at least. Here is the answer. So first page should contain your name, class, year, all such things. And subject will be experiment or electrical engineering laboratory, all such and these. Second page will be title of experiment. What is the title of experiment? It is given in the other material. Calibration of watt meter with DC potentiometer. So calibration of watt meter with DC potentiometer. Then what is the object of the experiment in the second page? Object is also given in the other sheet, instruction sheet. To calibrate a dynamometer type watt meter with DC potentiometer. Here, that is object. Then circuit diagram must draw in pen, not in pencil. Then third page will be what? It is the apparatus list. Which apparatus you are using? Ammeter, potentiometer, galvanometer, okay, volt box, supply voltage, all such things that you are getting. Then how much quantity you are using? Say ammeter, quantity 2. So what you are getting? Just 1 minute. How do you get quantity 2? From the circuit diagram we get quantity 2. So 1 ammeter here and any other ammeter? No, in that case, no, only 1 ammeter. But I have written 2 because of a particular reason. If we use 2 ammeter, just consider, say 2 ammeters may have different range. Use the range. Okay, now it may have 2 ammeter. Now which range you use? If you use 0 to 2.5 ampere, put a tick on 2.5. If you use 0 to 5 ampere, put a tick on 5. If you take 0 to 10 ampere, put a tick on 10 this way. But if it is a single range ammeter, you need not put any tick because you are using that range. Then maker's name, if you know, if it is found, no problem then. Otherwise, skip this thing. Maker's number, you can skip it because right now you don't know this thing. You cannot see the instrument physically. Okay. So just keep the column and just, but you need not write anything there. Don't try to write anything from your mind, from your imagination.
রেঞ্জের রেটিং গুলো তো স্যার পাবো না সব
না,
ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট।
রেঞ্জ রেটিং যদি না পাও তাহলে তুমি লিখবে না, তোমার শুধু শুধু লেখার যেটা তুমি ধারণায় পাচ্ছ সেটুকু লিখবে। ধরো তুমি জানো যে কারেন্ট কয়েলটা 5 অ্যাম্পিয়ার অবধি দেওয়া হচ্ছে, সেটা তুমি ভিডিও দেখে বুঝতে পারবে, আমিও বলে দিলাম।
ও
Then you
আচ্ছা
write 0 to 5 ampere, তখন শুধু এইটুকুই লেখো 0 to 5 ampere।
ওকে
এবার মাল্টি
তাহলে
রেঞ্জ ইউজ করেছি কি করিনি সেটা তো আর কি করে হবে, মেকার্স নেম তো আমরা জানিই না, ওটা দরকার নেই, মেকার্স নাম্বারের তো প্রশ্নই নেই। এইভাবে থার্ড পেজে অ্যাপারেটাস লিস্ট হবে। ফোর্থ পেজে কি হবে? এক্সপেরিমেন্ট করে যে রেজাল্টটা পেয়েছো, তার মানে এখানে তোমার সেই এক্সপেরিমেন্টাল রেজাল্ট দেওয়াই আছে, এই টেবিলটাই তোমার আবার লিখতে হবে। অল দ্য থিংস শুড বি হ্যান্ড রিটেন। আমি কোনো সফট কপি কিন্তু অ্যাকসেপ্ট করব না, I will not accept any soft copy. Everything should be handwritten. You can draw the table with scale, pen and paper, all such things, but clearly you have to draw, neatly you have to draw, okay, with enough care, obviously. Untidy work is very much discouraged. So now you can just write this. This is the table for the experimental result. You have to write the entire thing in the experimental result. Okay. So this one, this is the up to this is your experimental result. Clear? So you have done it. Next, then after on the next page you are writing experimental result. Then what you'll do? Then a fresh page will be there. It will be experimental report, means it may contain a table that will be the follow-up of the previous table. What is that? So your table will be this one, just I'm showing you. The second table will come in the experimental report. So this one. So this second table. So that is the second table will be in your experimental report because you have done it. It is the table, You have not done it in the laboratory. You are supposed to do it in your home, at your home. So you are doing it later. So that will come in the experimental report. And the formula you use, you have to write it here. But don't use the term compare, compute. No, because you are not instructing anybody to do. You simply write the what we are reading, WT equal to this. That's all. Don't write compare, compute, illustrate, describe, because you are not instructing anybody. তুমি কাউকে ইনস্ট্রাক্ট করছো না, ওই জন্য কম্পেয়ার কম্পিউট এগুলো তোমাদের জন্য লেখা। তাহলে ফর্মুলাটা লিখবে, ওপরেও লিখতে পারো, নিচেও টেবিলের নিচেও লিখতে পারো। You can write it on top or below the table, no problem. Okay, but it should come under experimental report. Okay, and percentage error, that formula also you should write at the bottom, okay, of the table. Then it is coming in the experimental report. After that, the formula used also I told you. Then you have to write next sample calculation. Just in the sample calculation, write the formula used, explain the meaning of the symbols of parameter in the formula, and take any particular serial number, just arbitrary. Say, as an example, take serial number 5. So using the reading of serial number 5, we get, okay, we get V equal to 100.2, 100.22, current I equal to 0.4436 ampere. Okay, what we are reading, then W2 equal to this into this by that, using formula such. So just you have to show only one sample calculation. Don't think that you have to show calculation for all the reading 10 and serial number. No, not at all. Please remember, okay, let's see. Am I audible? I think I am audible now. শোনা যাচ্ছে তো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার শোনা যাচ্ছে।
Okay, let's start. So only you have to give sample calculation for one set of reading only, from one serial number. One set of reading from one serial number only. That's all. That is important. Then, so draw a graph in the pen. Mention the names of x-axis, y-axis, the scale in the graph, and also resolution in the x-axis, y-axis. And it should be handwritten. Submit a scanned copy of the PDF file. Submit. এই তোমরা কেউ মাইক্রোফোনটা মিউট করে রাখো, তো বাড়ি কথাবার্তা চলে আসছে, অসুবিধা হচ্ছে। যখন আমাকে কোশ্চেন করবে তখন মিউটটা তুলে দেবে, আনমিউট করে দেবে। Submit the scanned copy of the PDF file as a single attachment of your mail and send it to the following mail ID. Submit elab, don't worry, I will give you that particular material also. So that will be the destination email ID. কেউ কিন্তু মনে রাখবে, ভুল করেও আমার পার্সোনাল মেইলে পাঠাবে না, যদি কেউ আমার পার্সোনাল মেইল জেনে থাকে, পার্সোনাল অফিসিয়াল যে মেইলই জেনে থাকে। যদি পাঠাও আমি কিন্তু স্ট্রেট আমি সেটাকে রিজেক্ট করে দেবো। I will not encourage anything. এটা আমি repeatedly বলছি, I am telling repeatedly, don't send anything to my personal mail or official mail. If you send it, it will be summarily rejected and you will get no marks for that particular lab. It's not possible for me to follow up such stray things repeatedly. এই ইমেল আইডি দিয়ে তোমাকে পাঠাতে হবে। এবং এটা পিডিএফ ফাইল হতে হবে, স্ক্যান্ড কপি অফ পিডিএফ, এবং it will be single PDF file, single একটা PDF ফাইল হতে হবে। অনেকে আমি একটা জিনিস দেখছি করছে, তারা অ্যাডোবের সার্ভারে আবার ওটাকে আপলোড করে দেয় এবং আমাকে বলে যে আমি ওখান থেকে ডাউনলোড করে নেব ক্লাউড থেকে। I am asked to download it from the cloud. I cannot do this type of thing. আমি এটা করা আমার পক্ষে সম্ভব নয়। Simple, it will be a simple attachment in your mail. It will be a simple attachment in the mail এবং যে ফরম্যাটে বলেছি স্ট্রিক্টলি এই ফরম্যাটে এটা থাকতে হবে। And what is the name of the file? Please remember, the name of the file will be lab, then underscore. এটা কিন্তু dash নয়, it's not a hyphen or dash. Underscore, class roll number, underscore your name. So if your name is anything, your name, then just write your name. Dot PDF. Say lab underscore 00 10801004, something like underscore say Vishwajit Bhattacharya dot PDF. So something like that will be the nature. Now, if you don't write it properly, what happens? Automatically, things are not getting downloaded to a folder. So I have to intervene manually into the situation. That is a time-consuming process. আমাকে প্রচুর প্রচুর খাতা দেখতে হয়। এবার প্রত্যেকটা ধরে ধরে যদি আমাকে আলাদা করে এইভাবে ম্যানুয়ালি ইন্টারভিন করতে হয়, অসুবিধা। তুমি যদি এই ফরম্যাটে লেখো, তাহলে তোমার ফাইলগুলো আমার মেশিনে অটোমেটিক্যালি একটা প্রপার অর্ডারে জমা হতে থাকবে। তাহলে কোনো একটা অসুবিধা, যে কোনো কিছু আমার চেক করতে সুবিধা, নাম্বার পোস্ট করতে সুবিধা, যে কোনো কিছু করতে। যেহেতু প্রচুর খাতা দেখতে হয়, এই ফাইল নেমটা ঠিকঠাক না হলে খুব প্রবলেম। অনেকে লিখে দিল বিজেপি স্যার বলে একটা কিছু করে দিল, লিখে দিল বিজেপি স্যার ই ল্যাব, কেউ লিখে দিল বিজেপি আন্ডারস্কোর, এরকম একদম করবে না, ইটস নট অ্যালাউড অ্যাট অল। আমার নাম, আমার অ্যাব্রিভিয়েশন কিচ্ছু দরকার নেই, জাস্ট রাইট ইট এন্ড সেন্ড ইট। And the deadline will be 20, today is what? Today is 18th. So it will be not 24th, it will be 25th September. By next Saturday, you have to submit the lab to me. If you don't submit it, I will not follow up at all. You will not, your report will not be considered properly. There will be a late marking and then finally it will be rejected beyond the deadline of late marking also. তোমরা late marking জানো যে 1 week late হলে late marking হবে, তার চেয়ে বেশি লেট হলে আমি রিজেক্ট করে দেওয়ার চান্সই বেশি। এটা কি করব আমি পরে সবার সঙ্গে কথা বলে ঠিক করবো আর ইউএসসি, কিন্তু আমি এটা কনসিডার করবো না। বেস্ট হচ্ছে কোনো ঝামেলা নেই, 7 দিনের মধ্যে আমাকে মেলে পাঠিয়ে দেবে প্রত্যেকে। আমি যেন দেখি কেউ না বাদ পড়ে গেছে, একদম আমি এই নিয়ে কোনো ফলো আপ করবো না কিন্তু, ঠিক আছে? জাস্ট 1 মিনিট, আর কিছু নেই এখানে। ওটা একটা বিরাট একটা কি ফোল্ডার হয়ে গেছে।
স্যার মেলের সাবজেক্ট কি দেবো একটু বলে দেবেন?
ওকে, subject of your mail. Calibration of watt meter with EC potentiometer. এই ফাইলটা আমি তোমাদের পাঠিয়ে দেবো, কোনো চিন্তা নেই, সব লেখা থাকবে সেখানে, আমি এর পিডিএফ পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, ঠিক আছে? এনি কোশ্চেন এই সংক্রান্ত কোনো কোয়ারি আছে আমাকে বলো, ক্লিয়ার আই থিঙ্ক। এবার শুধু একটা জিনিসই বাকি রইলো, একটা ছোট্ট ভিডিও আছে, এই মিনিট 10-এর বোধহয় ভিডিওটা দেখিয়ে নেবো, তারপরে তোমাদের যদি কোনো কোয়ারি থাকে সেই ভিডিওর উপরে তার আনসার দেবো, তাহলে আমাদের কাজ শেষ আছে। আর কিছু?
স্যার একটা জিনিস, একটু রুল
বললাম কিছু বুঝতে পারলাম না, কেটে কথাটা জড়িয়ে গেল।
স্যার বলছি সার্কিট ডায়াগ্রাম তো পেন দিয়ে ড্র করব,
সব পেন, গ্রাফ, সার্কিট ডায়াগ্রাম, টেবিল, সব পেনে হবে। আর কালার পেন ইউজ করবে না, আইদার ব্লু অর ব্ল্যাক।
ওকে স্যার,
আইদার ব্লু অর ব্ল্যাক।
ওকে স্যার।
আর বেশি ওরকম গেটআপের দরকার নেই, ইট শুড বি নিট এন্ড স্ট্রাকচারড, নিট এন্ড স্ট্রাকচারড, দ্যাটস অল, ঠিক আছে? আর কিছু?
স্যার একটা রুলড খাতার উপর করলে অসুবিধা হবে?
না 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 না, রুল খাতায় করবে না, অসুবিধা হয় যখন তুমি ছবিটা তুলবে, পরে পিডিএফ করলে না অনেক সময় বুঝতে অসুবিধা হয়, আমি দেখেছি কেউ কেউ পড়ে। সাদা খাতায় করো, রুল খাতায় করো না। এখন বড় হয়ে গেছো, এখন বাচ্চাদের মতো হাতের লেখার খাতা কেউ ইউজ করে না। বড়রা আমি কোনোদিন দেখিনি রুলটানা খাতা ইউজ করে, সব বাচ্চারা করে, ক্লাস 2, 3, 4 অব্দি বোধহয় করে, তারপরে কেউ করে না। সুতরাং সাদা খাতায় করবে, যেখানেই করো সাদা খাতায়। আর তোমাদের কিন্তু নাম, ক্লাস রোল নাম্বার, ইয়ার, ক্লাসটা এবং কন্ট্যাক্ট নাম্বার, ইমেল আইডি এগুলো দিতে মোটে ভুলবে না, যাতে দরকারে আমি ফোন করে নিতে পারি। আমার ফোন করার খুব একটা দরকার হয় না, দু একটা এক্সট্রিম কেসে দরকার হয়েছে কিছু কারণে, কিন্তু সাধারণত দরকার হয় না, কিন্তু এটা থাকবে, অবশ্যই থাকবে আর কি। ঠিক আছে, এনিথিং? তাহলে ঠিক আছে, তো তাহলে আমি কিন্তু এবারে করছি আর কি। তাহলে আমি একটা কাজ করি, আমি এটাকে পিডিএফটা করে রাখি এখন, সুবিধা হবে। ব্যাস, এটা আমার হয়ে গেল রেডি। তাহলে এটাও ক্লোজ করে দিচ্ছি। আচ্ছা, এটা থাক, আমি ভিডিওটা চালাই। আচ্ছা, এখন কতক্ষণ বাকি আছে? ও না, এখন অনেকক্ষণ বাকি আছে। বুম করে মাঝখানে ভিডিওটা বন্ধ না হয়ে যাচ্ছে। So let's see the experiment. The video is created by our technical staff of our laboratory. No, sorry. It should be played in better VLC player. That will be better. Open V VLC media player.
So here is our experiment, calibration of wattmeter, the dynamometer type wattmeter, DC potential. Here is this is the DC potentiometer used to calibrate this wattmeter. Now, this is the circuit diagram of this experiment. You can see here, this is the stabilized DC supply for voltage circuit. The voltmeter to measure the voltage. This is the volt ratio box to step down the supply voltage. This is the wattmeter we are calibrating. Okay, this is the potential coil of wattmeter, and this is the current coil. And there is a link when we want to short this potential coil and current coil, we'll use this. And here is the current source to energize this current coil, and a rheostat to vary the supply, an ammeter to measure the current. And here is a small known resistance. We will take the voltage across this resistance and measure it through this DC potentiometer. So this is the DC potentiometer, and the galvanometer is connected to take the detection, null detection. We measure it by null detection meter. And here is a standard cell connected in it. We use this standard cell voltage to standardize the potentiometer. Based on this EMF, then the wattmeter will be de-energized condition. And here is the supply for this DC potentiometer. Now these are the apparatus used for this experiment. As you can see, this is the DC potentiometer we are using. Here you can see it has two modes, standardized mode and test mode. We need to standardize this DC potentiometer in the experiment as we are calibrating another instrument. For the standardizing, we will use this standardized mode, and for testing, later we will use the test mode by making this test mode. There is a push button we will use to trigger the circuit. We will use to energize the circuit. And there is some other rheostat. This is force rheostat and current rheostat to make the standardization. And this is the two sliders over here. This is the main slider and this is the vernier slider. We will use these two to make the null detection when we will test any instrument. Here is the selector switch. There is three terminal here, 1, 2, 3, three input terminal, and this is the selector switch for these two terminals. These three terminals. Here, as we are using 1 and 3 terminal, we will take 1 and 3. Well, we will test. And here is a range button, range switch. You can change the range by this range switch to 1 and 1. This is the voltage supply, and the voltmeter is inbuilt in that. This is the voltage supply, the voltage circuit, and this is the volt ratio bar, the volt what you are seeing in the circuit. This is 100 volt by 1 volt. This is connected by 1. We are getting 1 voltage output for this DC potentiometer in this terminal. And the same line is connected in the potential coil of the wattmeter we are calibrating. Here we are using another power supply for the current coil. It is connected in this rheostat, which is RH1 mentioned in the circuit. There is two rheostat, just one is using for force and one is fine. And this is series connected with this ammeter and current coil of this wattmeter and the known small resistance, the 4-terminal resistance, which is 0.1 ohm. These all are series connected. And the voltage across this resistance we are taking to the terminal 3 of this DC potentiometer, which we will measure and get the value of the calibrated value, and which will calculate it later for 2 wattage. This is the voltage supply for potentiometer. This is the 2 volt voltage supply, and it is connected in the potentiometer. In this terminal of DC potentiometer, the galvanometer is connected, and this terminal, the standard cell, is connected. This is the galvanometer we are using for null detection, and this is the wattmeter we are calibrating. Before starting the test, we need to check the zero error of this wattmeter. As you can see, the pointer is in 0, so we need to check this before test to get the correct results. As you can see, the power supply, the voltage supply is there 100 volt. So we are getting voltage supply to the voltage circuit is 100 volt, and the volt ratio box is 100 by 1. So we're supposed to get 1 volt in this DC potentiometer. So before doing the test, we need to standardize this DC potentiometer. So we are putting in the standardized mode, and by tuning this standard cell voltage and the 2 rheostat, we will standardize the galvanometer, the DC potentiometer. As you can see, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. So we can say the DC potentiometer is now standardized, and we can start the test. And so we are switching this pointer to the test mode. So for this print work, we will calibrate the potential coil. So as you know, the potential coil is charged with this 100 volt, and through this volt ratio box, we are getting approximately 1 volt in this terminal 1. So we will change the selector switch to terminal 1, and you can see this potentiometer is in test mode. Now when we will trigger the push button, we'll see there is a deflection in the galvanometer. The circuit is unbalanced. Now, by varying the main slider and the vernier slider, okay, we will try to get the null point. So now we can see we achieved the null point. There is no deflection in the galvanometer. So this was in unlinked condition. The potential coil was not connected with the current coil. Now we are connecting these two by a link. So in this with link condition, we will further check whether the circuit is still balanced or not. If not, we need to vary the main slide wire and the vernier slide wire if needed. We try to get the null point. Now you can see that in this condition also we have got the null point. So when we get the null point, we need to note the value of these two slide wire. As you see, this is the main slide wire and the value is 1, and this is the vernier slide wire. By this pointer, you can see this is in 39.2, and this has the multiplication factor of 1 by 1000. So by multiplying this factor and the range, with the value, actual value. So the total value will be main slider plus vernier slider into range. Now we have checked the output voltage V1 for 20 watt for with link and without link condition. We need to take the value of wattmeter also for these two. Now we calculate the current. That means we will check the voltage of V2 and once the resistance R, which is connected in terminal 3. So we will change the selector switch to 3 and the range as well to 0.1. Now by the same process, we will check whether there is deflection in the galvanometer or not. You can see that there is a deflection. So the deflection is so we will try to nullify this by varying the main slider and the vernier slider. Now you can see we have achieved. Now there is no deflection. The circuit is in balanced condition. In the same way, we will take the value. We will take the reading for the current coil calibration, and further we will connect the link, connect the PC coil with the current coil. The same process and check whether it is in null condition balanced. The same thing again. We will what meter reading. Calibrate both condition and without condition. What? 61. Do the same process. Thereafter, we will calculate the two voltage and by this way, calculate
কি বোঝা গেল? হ্যালো, সবাই কি নিদ্রা যাচ্ছে নাকি?
হ্যাঁ
হ্যালো,
স্যার।
বোঝা যাচ্ছে তো? Just I have
হ্যাঁ
one
স্যার।
question to conclude. Just I want to show you 1 minute here. See the circuit. So this part, see the low resistance. It has 4 terminals. P1, P2. These are the called potential terminal or voltage terminal. And C1, C2. These
Yes,
are
sir.
called current terminals. So for a low resistance, there are 4 terminals. Always. Okay. Now, if you see this thing, what we'll get? Just 1 minute. I play it. Just 1 minute. I want to just
now these are the display switch.
That R1 will
this one.
Terminal resistance, which is 0.1 ohm.
This. So these are the, you see, the bigger terminals are current terminals, and the 2 smaller terminals, these are the potential terminals. The potential terminals are normally inside the spread of current terminals. Okay, just if we see the thing will get also. So these are 2 potential terminals of smaller size and current terminals are bigger size. Now I have 2 questions to you. First thing is, why there are 4 terminals for such resistance? Second question is, why the size of the current terminal is more than the size of potential terminal. Okay, you will think this particular thing. I think don't want to explain it right now. Just for you. So 2 questions. Why 4 terminals for this resistance, and why the current terminals are having bigger or size more?
because of the small value, sir. Because of the low resistance current. So
Because of
why,
the
sir?
because of the
Because
small
of the low,
resistance.
because of the small resistance value. So by using that Kelvin law.
Okay, that's
So we
fine.
want to avoid the contact resistance. That's why.
Contact resistance where? There are contact resistance not only in the current terminal, there are also in potential terminal. So in both the cases. So how you
So,
are avoiding
so we want to avoid the contact resistance in case of potential terminals.
potential terminal? But potential, the contacts are there in the potential terminal. Okay, the contacts are there in the potential terminal also. Yeah. So this is not used. So let's see.
বড়গুলোর সাথে potential terminal.
বড়গুলো
বড়গুলো-
কারেন্ট টার্মিনাল,
মানে
বড়
যেগুলো
size
স্যার
গুলো
সবচেয়ে
হয়
বেশি
না।
ক্লোজ, মানে স্যার যে
আর close
ক্লোজ
এ-
যেগুলো থাকে
ক্লোজে
রেজিস্ট্যান্সের
থাকে
ক্লোজে
হচ্ছে
যেটা
পোটেনশিয়াল টার্মিনাল। ক্লোজে থাকে হচ্ছে পোটেনশিয়াল টার্মিনাল, যেগুলোর সাইজ হচ্ছে ছোট হয়। আর কারেন্ট টার্মিনাল
ও,
যেগুলোর
okay,
সাইজ বড় হয় সেগুলো দূরে থাকে। ছবিতে অতটা কাছে দূরে বোঝা যাচ্ছে না, সে তো ওরা কনভেনিয়েন্টলি প্লেস করেছে, সেটা কিছু না। কিন্তু কারেন্ট টার্মিনাল গুলো দুদিকে ছড়ানো থাকে, C1 C2, যেগুলো বড় হয়। আর P1 P2 রেজিস্ট্যান্সের কাছে থাকে, যেটা ছোট হয় সাইজে। সাইজের ছোট বড়টা সহজেই বোঝা যায়। In the voltage measuring circuit, in the always the resistance is much higher. Resistance is much higher in voltage measuring circuit. It means you measure a voltage by using a voltmeter, or maybe whatever it may be, maybe potentiometer also. Normally what happens, the resistance is much higher, means the current drawn by the voltage measuring circuit is insignificantly small. Current drawn by the voltage measuring circuit is very small, so that the original voltage is not getting disturbed by the loading effect of the voltage caused by the voltage measuring circuit. So since it is drawing very small amount of current, okay, so it's the terminals that are handling low current will have a smaller size. That's why potential terminals are having smaller size, because it is handling very low current. That is the first thing. Second thing is, for current terminal, again the opposite way you can say, since it is handling large amount of current, the current is just entering into the resistance or leaving out of the thing, so its size will be more to handle. Not only that, another purpose is to reduce contact drop. Another purpose is to reduce contact resistance in the current terminal. Now, why contact resistance is important in current terminal and why not in the potential terminal? Because in the potential terminal, as the current drawn by the voltage measuring circuit is insignificantly small, no extra current is present in the potential terminal. So, because of small valued current in the voltage measuring circuit, okay, the contact drop is insignificant. Contact drop is insignificant. But in current terminal, its size is made larger to reduce the contact drop, to reduce the contact resistance, and thereby to reduce the associated extra drop of contact due to relatively larger amount of current. Okay. In voltage measuring circuit, current is small, so contact drop is insignificant. In current terminal, current handled by the terminal is large, so contact drop plays important role. And since in the voltage measuring circuit, the drop is actually the voltage drop in the contact should not come. In the voltage measuring circuit, the contact drop should not come. Therefore, okay, the contact drop should take place outside the region of potential terminal. Contact drop should take place outside the region of potential terminal. Therefore, potential terminals are placed inside and contact drops are happening outside the zone of potential terminal and is not measured by the voltage measuring circuit. Clear? Any doubt? So that's why low resistance is having, okay, port terminal arrangement. You should think the whole thing, what I have stated. At your home, you should think the whole thing and you have to try to organize the logic. সাধারণত একটা কিছু করে আমাদের একটা বদ অভ্যাস, আমরা হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ, ইনস্টাগ্রাম, ফেসবুক, ইউটিউব সবসময় কানে একটা কিছু দিয়ে রেখে দিয়ে আমরা কোনো কিছু নিয়ে কোনো কিছু ভাবছি না আজকাল। লোকে রাস্তা দিয়ে যেতে তো সঙ্গীত শুধু আহরণ করে যাচ্ছে, এমন অবস্থা। ব্রেনটাকে কেউ ফাঁকাই রাখছে না। তার ফলে যখন লজিক্যালি কিছু বলা হচ্ছে, কেউ আর সিস্টেমেটিক্যালি ভাবতেও পারছে না, গুছিয়ে কিছু বলতেও পারছে না। কারণ ভাবনাটাই তো তৈরি হওয়ার জন্য একটা আইডল টাইম লাগে, সেই আইডল টাইমটা ব্রেন পাচ্ছে না। আমি তোমাদের বলবো, এই যে লজিকটা বললাম যে ফোর টার্মিনাল লো রেজিস্ট্যান্স টার্মিনাল কেন ফোর টার্মিনাল করা হয়, কেন পোটেনশিয়াল টার্মিনাল ভেতরে আর কারেন্ট টার্মিনাল বাইরে করা হয়, আর কেন তাদের সাইজ গুলো আলাদা হয়, এর আনসার গুলোকে নিজেদের মতো এবার লজিক্যালি সাজিয়ে রাখবে। যে কোনো সময় তোমাদের কাছে এরকম কোশ্চেন আসতেই পারে ভবিষ্যতে। ঠিক আছে? টুডে আফটার দিস ক্লাস আই শ্যাল, the class is complete. To your group mail I shall send you all such materials. তোমাদের গ্রুপ মেলে পাঠিয়ে দেবো, এখনই পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি। আর লাস্ট ডেট তো জানো 25 সেপ্টেম্বর। ঠিক আছে? এনি কোয়ারি, এনিথিং? নো? ওকে, আমি পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, একটু পরেই পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি। তো থ্যাংক ইউ।